În joia din Săptămâna Sfintelor Patimi, concertul vocal simfonic al orchestrei și corului Filarmonicii Banatul oferă publicului șansa unei fascinante călătorii în imperiul frumosului muzical. Programul concertului este unul atrăgător și plin de semnificații. Sinfonia numărul 80 în re minor de Joseph Haydn și Requiemul în re minor pentru soliști, cor și orchestră din creația lui Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Quartetul solistic este alcătuit din soprana Irina Iordăchescu, mezzosoprana Cristina Iordache, tenorul Mario Vasiliu și basul Lucian Onița. Corul Ion Românu a fost pregătit de Iosif Todea. Dirijorul concertului, Michael Hasel, nu este doar un ghid muzical ideal, ci și un mare prieten al Filarmonicii Banatul. Michael Hasel este un muzician cu o personalitate multilaterală, flautist al celebrei orchestre a Filarmonicii din Berlin, profesor, organist, dirijor și muzicolog. Vă invităm să vizionați un interviu cu maestrul Michael Hasel și secvențe din repetițiile pentru cel mai important eveniment concertistic programat la Filarmonica Banatul din Timisoara. Welcome back in Timisoara, Maestro Michael Hasel. First of all, I would like to congratulate you for your brilliant performance from the last year Berliner Philharmonic's concert in Bucharest. On September 3rd, the orchestra participated after 15 years of negotiations at the UNESCO Festival. How was it for you to play for the first time in Bucharest?
I think it was for all my colleagues a great experience because everybody knew about that festival, the history of the festival, all the famous artists who have been part of that festival, and we haven't been in that place before. And so everybody went with very high expectations, and it was wonderful. We had a fantastic audience. Well, the concert hall is not the best hall in the world, but it's okay. And for a piece like the Shostakovich number 4, what is enormous and huge and very loud piece, it was the better choice than to play in the Athenaeum.
Yes.
But everybody was extremely happy.
And now you are for the second time in Timisoara to conduct the Banatul Philharmonic Orchestra and the choir. What do you know about Banatul Philharmonic's history?
Well, last time I got some information about the long and fantastic history of that institution. How many of in former times, how many of the most famous artists, conductors, soloists, composers have been here in Timisoara, and I was very happy in the end to get the offer to sign in the Red Book where all the artists were, like Johannes Brahms, Fritz Kreisler, Béla Bartók, and so it was really a very touching moment for me.
I would like to ask you, how would you describe your current partnership with our music ensembles, the orchestra and the choir?
It's a nice experience. After last time where we had a kind of mixed program with Richard Wagner, brilliant Meistersinger, a premiere of a contemporary piece and a Dvorak symphony in the end, so a mixed program. This time we have only classical pieces, a Haydn symphony and the Mozart Requiem, what is, of course, a completely different repertoire, highly demanding for the players and also for the choir. It was the first time that I met the choir, and I was really extremely positive, surprised about the professionalism and the quality of singing. And also the soloists are wonderful, so I'm looking forward for a beautiful performance of the Mozart Requiem.
So you conduct here in Timisoara works by Haydn and Mozart, two of the best-known composers from the classical period. How do you approach Haydn's universe?
For me, Haydn is the greatest genius aside from Johann Sebastian Bach. I love his music for any reason. I'm so much in that music every day. after sleeping, I go to my office and playing one of the Haydn sonatas on the piano or so, and I'm enjoying that so much. And the cosmos of the symphonies, it's so huge and so interesting, and every single piece is different. And I try, of course, to interpret this music with the knowledge we have nowadays from people like Nicolaus Arnoncourt, who told us during the last decades a lot about how to perform Baroque and classical pieces in a more appropriate way, as we might have done it some centuries ago.
With very little vibrato.
For example, little vibrato, small orchestras, very precise phrasing and articulation.
Yes. Yes.
157, 158. Accent on the fa.
Mozart's Requiem was composed in 1791 in Vienna and left unfinished at the composer's death on December 5th. What are your thoughts about the myth surrounding Mozart's Requiem?
It's difficult to say. There has been all kinds of rumors and things like Mozart has been poisoned by Salieri and all that stuff. Everybody knows that, but there is
coming from
no,
Peter Scheffer's play.
Yeah, there is no proof at all for things like that, and he simply was in the end of his lifetime, and he couldn't make it, unfortunately, longer, and unfortunately not to finish this beautiful piece. And
Important conductors have said that the Mozart's Requiem is one of those pieces that, if someone wakes you up in the middle of the night, you should be ready to perform it. Do you agree, Maestro Hasel?
in the middle of the night, why not? Yes.
Yes.
I would do so.
Yes. Which completion of the work do you consider to be the best? There are so many.
Yeah, there are so many. I personally would have done the Robert Levine version, because I think this is the most elaborate and stylish version we have nowadays. But for any reason it was too complicated, because it's different parts for the chorus and the orchestra, and you need really the special instruments like corno di bassetto and so on. So I decided to stay with the Süßmayr version, what is not the best, but, well, it's anyway the version which was performed shortly after Mozart's death.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Mozart's Requiem, it's an extraordinary, beautiful work, both melodic and spiritual. As a vocal performance, this is one of the most difficult pieces a choir could attempt to do. Is it so? Do you agree?
The day before I spoke to Mr. Todea, the chorus master.
Yes.
What's about the B minor mass of Johann Sebastian Bach? Have you done that before? Yeah, he said, oh, what, it's long time ago. I think this is really ways more difficult, but Mozart is always highly demanding for everybody.
How hard is to unveil the haunting beauty of Mozart's Requiem?
It is not very hard. You just have to be precise and detailed in the rehearsal work. When you just play it, well, you get a picture, but the picture is gray and no structure in it. But you have to work on every single bar to bring this work really to life.
The whole piece,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
In what way a conductor, Simon Rattle for example, approaches the mysterious wonder of this haunting classic with the Berliner Philharmonica?
Well, Sir Simon is also a great fan of the music of Joseph Haydn, so we have done many Haydn symphonies. We have done, of course, a lot of Mozart symphonies. As far as I remember, we haven't done the Requiem with Sir Simon. We have done that years before with Claudia Abbado and so, but I can't remember a performance of the Requiem so far.
Next day, after the concert, you have scheduled a flute masterclass at the Faculty of Music in Timisoara. We all know that you have a tremendous history as a musician, as a flute artist. What should be the main artistic goal of a young flute player, Maestro Hasel?
Well, the artistic goal for every musician should be to improve, getting better and refine your abilities and your knowledge and open your mind, and that's not only for young people, it's also for the old people like me. We have to work on that.
What was the best advice you received in your wonderful career?
Work on basics. Very simple.
Yes, yes.
Still more separation. Can you make that lighter? Don't play too much like 16th notes. A little more, a little later. Yeah, no.
Deci cu dublu punct să gătim.
Dar le legi?
Nu, am greșit. Am greșit.
Please, I know that.
Da?
Please be patient.
Deci dublu punct și 32 mi-am da?
Da. Și legături?
What would be the greatest virtue in a conductor, Maestro Hasel? You know, I had the privilege to ask Sir Simon Rattle the same question last year on September 3rd
at the press conference. Do you know what he told me?
No.
Patience.
Well, this is true up to a certain point, yeah.
Now, in April 2016, how would you define Simon Rattle's era in Berlin?
Well, he is one of the greatest conductors we have at the moment. I'm very happy to work with him, and most of my colleagues are in the same spirit. He brought so many new things to the orchestra. Let's say the whole education program we launched, a lot of new repertoire, a lot of new insights into our standard repertoire. When you listen to the performances of the 9 Beethoven symphonies we recently did,
I know.
it's completely different than it was before, and so for me I'm still enjoying the time. I'm looking forward for the next 2 years with him.
Kirill Petrenko is the new chief conductor designate of the Berlin Philharmonica. From what I understood, the orchestra voted for the Russian conductor by a large majority. He has been the director of the Bavarian State Opera since 2013 and worked already with the Berlin Philharmoniker as a guest conductor. About Kirill Petrenko, one of your colleagues said, with him it was like when you are coming back. It was really love at first sight. We really appreciated what he was doing. Was Kirill Petrenko always a leading candidate for the job? I ask this because for many people the orchestra choice was a big surprise. He is a great conductor, great musician, but there are other great marquee names.
It's whenever you have a choice to choose one, let's say the best soccer player or the best bicyclist or the best conductor, and you have a community of 128 people discussing that matter, you will get different opinions, and you will, of course, have a variety of candidates.
Yes.
That's what happened in Berlin. But in the end, the majority decides. And you know the final result.
Yes. What are his principal qualities?
He is such an honest and true musician, and such a, from the bottom of his heart, a nice person who wants to collaborate with the people, who wants to make the best out of the rehearsals and the final concerts, make music. And he's not selfish at all, and he's really in the music.
Is Kirill Petrenko always easy to follow? And every new conductor, you know it very well, wants to bring his own ideas into an orchestra. Do you have any ideas about what changes he might make?
No, I don't have any ideas because so far I had only once the possibility to play with him in the orchestra. That was a fantastic experience. But then I saw him only as a conductor several times when he was the music director of the Komische Oper in Berlin, and
Yes.
I saw also 2 performances in Munich in the State Opera, and that was so convincing. But as a conductor from rehearsals also, I don't know him very much so far.
Yes. How it is for you, maestro, to express your most intimate thoughts and also the composer's thinking through your arms, face and body?
Well, that's what you have to do as a conductor. It's
Yes.
part of the business. I try not to make a big show, and that's solid working. Please check the second last one. So let's do the next place. It is 48. Let's do some run notes. 48. So be careful with that stuff. May I have once flute and relief from 70? On the beat at first. 17. Have a look at 20. Yeah.
Is there any other art form you consider superior to music?
It's difficult to compare, you know.
Yes.
I'm very much interested, let's say, in architecture, so what is also a very interesting matter, but it is different to music, but also music is a architectural form, but you look at pieces like a B minor Messa, so that's really a build-up of the different movements, and so that comes pretty close, I think.
Yes. What do you enjoy doing when you are not conducting or playing the flute and piccolo?
I'm playing a lot on my piano. I recently
Very
bought a Hammer clavier, and that's fantastic for the repertoire, classical repertoire, Haydn
Yes,
and Mozart.
yes, yes.
I'm playing a lot on that piano, and of course, I enjoy very much to be on my boat with my wife and have
Splendid.
no music around.
What is, in your vision, maestro, the meaning of music and life?
That's a very philosophical, difficult question. Well, music can a thing what can extremely enrich your life and your growing as a human being. It can bring you up to another sphere and to another understanding of the world and the cosmos.
Have you got a philosophy for your life?
No, not yet.
What means Romanian culture for you, Maestro Hasel?
I don't know so much about Romanian culture, but it seems to be extremely interesting because your history has so many influences from the Ottoman side, from the Habsburg side, and from all those influences. And I've found it very interesting. For example, last night I went with my colleague Vlad to the university, and there was a little exhibition. It was a collection of stamps and postcards and things like that. And you see what already happened here centuries ago in Romania, what people have been here and part of your Romanian culture, and extremely interesting.
Yes. What is it, as you go forward through music and life, that you want to achieve artistically and creatively?
Well, I want to bring the pieces I conduct to the audience and show them the beauty and the strength of those masterworks.
Maestro Hasel, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Thank you.